We often associate actors with their most iconic roles, the parts that propelled them into stardom and defined their careers. But for some actors, those roles that brought them fame eventually became sources of frustration, regret, even resentment. Facts Verse presents actors who regret the roles that made them famous. Daniel Radcliffe in Harry Potter. Daniel Radcliffe skyrocketed to fame playing the role of Harry across all 8 films in the blockbuster franchise. Though they were highly acclaimed and successful, grossing over $7.7 billion, Radcliffe has a self-critical perspective regarding his acting skills, particularly in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. In an interview with Playboy in 2012, Radcliffe singled out his performance in the 6th Potter film as one he strongly disliked. Quote, "I'm just not very good in it. I hate it. My acting is very one-note, and I can see I became complacent, and what I was trying to do just didn't come across." He did praise his performance in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix as his best in the series, saying he could see a progression. Kate Winslet criticized Titanic's portrayal of Rose. One of the biggest box office smash hits of modern cinema, Titanic cemented Kate Winslet as a household name for her emotional portrayal of upper-class Rose, who tragically falls in love with working-class Jack aboard the doomed luxury ship RMS Titanic. While the movie earned critical acclaim and Winslet an Academy Award nomination, she expressed frustration regarding director James Cameron's vision. Quote, "Every single scene I'm like, really? You did it like that? Oh my God. Even my American accent, I can't listen to it. It's awful." Further elaborating, she noted that it sounds terribly self-indulgent, but actors do tend to be very self-critical. She has a difficult time watching any of her past performances, and she says that watching Titanic, she was like, quote, "Oh, I want to do that again." Specifically, she felt Cameron wrote the romance between Rose and Jack as an unrealistic fairy tale fantasy. So despite the film's enduring popularity, its female lead star looks back on her own performance as cringeworthy. Viola Davis regrets The Help's failure to give black perspective. Viola Davis earned widespread acclaim for her supporting role as outspoken maid Aibileen Clark in 2011's The Help, set during the Civil Rights Movement era. Her emotional performance scored an Oscar nomination. But in the years since, Davis has vocalized profound regret regarding the film's narrative framing that places white characters as saviors rather than focusing on the marginalized black experience. In a 2018 interview with the New York Times, Davis praised the film itself, but critiqued its pandering perspective. Quote, "I just felt that at the end of the day, it wasn't the voices of the maids that we heard. They're invested in the idea of what it means to be black, but it's catering to the white audience." She went on to say that another actress should have played her role, as she felt she betrayed herself and her own people in starring in the film. Sean Connery swore off James Bond. Though the James Bond film franchise remains an ongoing cinematic juggernaut today, Sean Connery originated the role of the suave MI6 spy in the 1960s. His debut as Bond in 1962's Dr. No launched the series and his own career, starring in 5 more 007 adventures throughout that decade. But by 1971, as his contract expired, Connery had tired of the character, resenting the non-stop objectification from fans and struggling to break out of typecasting. In several interviews over the years, he vented frustrations over being unable to shake the Bond association. Quote, "I have always hated that damn James Bond," he told the Chicago Tribune in 1983. "I'd like to kill him." Though producers lured Connery back one last time for 1983's Never Say Never Again, the actor confirmed that he would not touch Bond again. Marilyn Monroe struggled with the dumb blonde typecasting. No actress proved more glamorous and captivating in 1950s Hollywood than Marilyn Monroe. Her unique combination of beauty, charm, and vulnerability catapulting her to stardom as the decade's quintessential blonde bombshell. But Monroe long aspired to have her talents as a serious actress recognized. Beyond the breathy-voiced sex symbol roles studios continually cast her in, from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes to The 7-Year Itch. She pursued professional acting lessons and fought for meatier, dramatic parts, even starting her own production company to achieve better control over her career. Before her 1962 death from an overdose at age 36, she gave several interviews venting frustration over the industry pigeonholing. Quote, "I want to be an artist, not an erotic freak. I don't want to be sold to the public as some kind of celluloid aphrodisiac." While the ditzy blonde persona brought fame, it also typecast the star who long struggled for creative freedom and respect. Eddie Redmayne regrets casting in The Danish Girl. Eddie Redmayne earned an Academy Award nomination for his performance as transgender artist Lily Elbe in 2015's The Danish Girl, but his casting sparked controversy regarding cisgender actors playing trans roles rather than trans actors themselves. In 2020, Redmayne acknowledged that he made a mistake and expressed regret for taking the role rather than pushing for authentic casting. In an interview with the Sunday Times, Redmayne reflected, quote, "I made that film with the best intentions, but I think it was a mistake." He went on to criticize the lack of representation in major casting decisions in general, noting, quote, "There must be a leveling, otherwise we are going to carry on having these debates." Zac Efron on struggling with High School Musical typecasting. The High School Musical trilogy not only catapulted Zac Efron to fame, but also became a cultural phenomenon, particularly among millennial and Gen Z audiences. Yet over a decade later, Efron harbors resentment regarding how the Disney Channel original movies have defined his public image, as well as the difficulty of breaking out of the association. Quote, "I step back and look at myself, and I still want to kick that guy's butt sometimes. He's still just that kid from High School Musical," he told Men's Fitness in 2014. Despite being a multi-millionaire many times over, thanks to Troy Bolton, Efron clearly resents not being fully seen beyond the squeaky clean Disney character. Christopher Plummer hated sentimental aspects of the Sound of Music role. The 1965 classic film adaptation of the musical The Sound of Music remains one of the most popular and acclaimed films of all time. While lead actress Julie Andrews became synonymous with upbeat governess Maria, co-star Christopher Plummer harbored intense dislike regarding his role as Captain George Von Trapp. In 2011, he told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "I think the part in The Sound of Music was the toughest because it was so awful and sentimental and gooey." Clearly, the exaggerated sweetness and hint of a love story between the captain and Maria rubbed Plummer the wrong way artistically. The emotional warmth and hopeful tone that made the film so appealing for audiences was the same thing its veteran star despised. Matt Damon slams studio and script issues with the Bourne Ultimatum. Matt Damon became an international action star thanks to playing rogue assassin Jason Bourne across 3 hit films in the early 2000s. But behind the scenes, he grappled with serious frustration regarding the 3rd chapter, The Bourne Ultimatum. Released in 2007, the film earned over $440 million worldwide. But Damon minced no words to GQ about deeming the first draft script outright terrible. Quote, "It's just that it was unreadable. This is a career ender. I mean, I could put this thing up on eBay and it would be game over," he vented, going on to call the draft embarrassing. Now it's time to hear from you. Which was the most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comment section below.